The story is from October 1943, when World War II had turned the Atlantic Ocean into a battlefield. During this time, German submarines often targeted American ships. It is said that to save the Allied forces' ships, America initiated a top-secret program called the Philadelphia Experiment. In it, a series of secret military programs were carried out inside America's Philadelphia shipyard, where the U.S. Navy was working on changing their ships to remain invisible to radar and save them from German submarines. A similar experiment was happening on a Cannon-class destroyer ship, USS Eldridge, because it housed several large generators which were part of this top-secret mission. Rumors suggest that these generators were present in the ships to power a new type of magnetic field that made the ship invisible on enemy radars. During this mission, the USA Eldridge was wrapped in copper wire from all sides, and then the experiment was started. All the ships present nearby and their crew were closely observing this experiment. Then the generator was turned on, and something happened that astonished everyone and gave birth to a huge mystery. Once the switch of the generator was turned on, a green fog spread all around the ships. And when this fog reduced after a few seconds, everyone was shocked because the USS Eldridge was not only missing from the military's radar, but also from people's sight. This ship mysteriously reached Norfolk, Virginia, which is 400 kilometers away from Philadelphia. Approximately 20 minutes later, the USS Eldridge returned to Philadelphia, but during this time, something terrible had happened. In later interviews, a merchant marine named Carl M. Allen claimed that he witnessed this scenario with his own eyes. Carl claimed that the USS Eldridge suddenly disappeared and then returned to the exact same location after some time. People also reported a similar sighting in Norfolk, where the Eldridge appeared for a brief time and then disappeared. However, when the ship returned to Philadelphia, the condition of the ship's crew was extremely shocking. Many crew members were severely burnt, their body parts were broken, and some were so stuck in the ship's metal walls that they couldn't even come out. Along with this, it is claimed that many crew members never returned. When the news of the ship disappearing started to spread, people readily believed it because it was wartime and technological advancement was happening so rapidly that anything seemed possible. But did this really happen? Or was it just a rumor? On one hand, where this experiment was making the ship visible in Philadelphia and Norfolk, according to the USS Eldridge's log records, it was actually in New York at that time. However, this doesn't end the credibility of the Philadelphia experiment, because in such top-secret missions, it is common to write lies in the ship's log records. Many reports suggest that in 1943, the American Navy did conduct an experiment to make ships invisible in Philadelphia, but the goal was not to make them disappear in reality. Instead, it was only meant to make them invisible to German underwater mines. At that time, German scientists used to measure the strength of magnetic fields in Gauss, and due to this magnetic field, German mines used to trigger. Therefore, to counteract the effect of this magnetic field and avoid mines, the Americans also wanted to start the degaussing process. And to do this, at that time, electromagnetic coils used to be installed in ships, but this was quite expensive. So the American military came up with a new way to neglect the effect of magnetic fields by wrapping the ships with copper wire from all sides. But here, the problem was that due to the continuous rotation of the Earth, the process of degaussing would go in reverse, meaning they needed to create a system that would allow the ships to be degaussed whenever necessary. This indicates that the experiment happening in Philadelphia that day was conducted to find a new solution to this problem. However, it was absolutely clear that no experiment was being conducted on time travel, but if it was a top-secret project of the American Navy, then how did the news of the Philadelphia experiment get leaked? Now, the story begins in 1955, when a person named Morris Jessup received a letter. Joseph had published a book called The Case for the UFO. In this book, he started sending letters to unidentified authorities where people told about the flying objects and strange sightings they had seen. But among these letters was a letter from Carlos L., which contained something that told a new story about the Philadelphia experiment. In his letter, Allen revealed that on the day of the experiment on the USS Eldridge in October 1943, he was standing on a nearby merchant ship observing the scene. Allen saw a green fog spread around the Eldridge, and then suddenly it disappeared. When the ship returned to Philadelphia, its crew was stuck in steel walls. Those who didn't die in this incident behaved like madmen. Allen also claimed that he had quite good information about the science behind this experiment. In fact, the U.S. Navy believed that Einstein's unified field theory could merge electromagnetism and gravity into a single field. And perhaps something like this happened there too. However, Allen's letters were strange in many ways because many things written in them didn't make any sense. When Morris Jessup tried to contact Allen by responding to the letter, no reply came from Allen. In fact, he hadn't used his real name in the letter either, which was Carl M. Allen. Approximately 1 year after this incident, 2 officers from the Office of Naval Research of America arrived at Morris Jessup's home. Actually, during this time, a secret package arrived at the Office of Naval Research, where the sender's name or address wasn't mentioned at all, just a Happy Easter sticker was there. Inside this, there was a copy of Morris Jessup's recently published book, The Case for the UFO, with comments written on every page and paragraph. These comments were written in 3 different shades of blue, which seemed as if they were written by not 1, but 3 people. When Morris was shown this book, he immediately recognized Allen's handwriting and also mentioned that it definitely Allen who used the 3 different shades. Allen later accepted this, but this entire incident raised significant questions on the Office of Naval Research, because if nothing like the Philadelphia experiment happened, then why were they taking Allen's actions so seriously? This indicates that in some way, Allen was telling the truth, and the Philadelphia experiment was indeed a part of the U.S. Navy's invisibility test. While Carlos Allen was busy making his claims, Morris Jessup was caught in a different problem. After the success of his first book, Morris's second book failed terribly, and then the third book met the same fate. In such a situation, to come back into the limelight, Morris leveraged the Philadelphia experiment and started looking for evidence based on Carlos Allen's claims. In 1958, Morris Joseph handed all the documents of his research to a friend, Ivan Sanderson, and asked them to keep these documents safe. He did this because Morris feared something might happen to him. On April 19, 1959, Morris called a friend, Mason Valentino, to meet him and informed him that he had gotten hold of such secret information that he would reveal upon their meeting. But, unfortunately, this could never happen because the very next day, i.e. April 20th, 1959, Morris Joseph was found dead inside his car, and his cause of death was deemed to be carbon monoxide poisoning. A hose was coming from the exhaust pipe of Morris's car, filling the car with this toxic gas, and clothes were stuffed in the window glass as well to prevent the gas from escaping. The police investigation declared that Morris had taken his own life, but no autopsy was conducted on his body. The circumstances of Morris's death were quite mysterious and controversial, as if he had come across something that wasn't meant to come out. However, Allen's letters and the mysterious death of Morris Jessup gained significant popularity. Benefiting from this, Varro Manufacturing Corporation of Garland, a book publishing company, merged Allen's letters with Morris's first book, The Case for the UFO, selling it under the Varro edition, and it received a tremendous popular response. A while ago, I told you that in the book sent to ONR, it was indeed Carlos Allen who wrote the comments. But now the question arises, why did Carlos do this? When ONR asked Carlos Allen this question, he said that Morris was researching the theory of the unified field, which according to Allen could be very dangerous for the world. So he wanted to scare Morris into stopping his research. In 1984, a movie named The Philadelphia Experiment, made by Stuart Raphael, was released in America. After the release of this movie, people's attention went back to the incident in 1943 mentioned by Carlos Allen, and stories of this event began gaining popularity among people. Some years later, in 1990, a person named Al Bielek came forward and claimed that he was a part of the Philadelphia experiment. He claimed to be one of the few survivors of this experiment who had lost their memory afterward but remembered the entire event after watching this movie. Al Bielek's account largely matched what Carlos Allen had told, although he also revealed something that added a new twist to this entire mystery. Al Bielek stated that the U.S. was experimenting not on making the ship invisible to radar, but on time travel. In fact, he even claimed that they succeeded in this mission, and during the Philadelphia experiment, he traveled through time to the year 1983. Even though Al Bielek didn't reveal more details connected to this incident, when asked about it on a show called Coast to Coast AM by host George Norrie, Al Bielek refused to disclose anything because, according to him, it was a very important asset linked to America's national security. However, one thing that Al Bielek did reveal here was that after the Philadelphia experiment, the U.S. military involved him in the Montauk Project, an experiment related to time travel, which is associated with famous scientists like Nikola Tesla and Wilhelm Reich. Just like the Philadelphia experiment, the Montauk Project was also full of controversies. But could Al Bielek's words be trusted, because he claimed that during the Philadelphia experiment he traveled through time to 1983, which was before he had also claimed to visit 2137 and 2749. In one claim, he even stated that in 2005, America and European countries would destroy China and Russia, and only a population of 300 million would remain in the world. Al Bielek had also mentioned that after traveling through time in 2137, he went to the year 1984, where he met John von Neumann, who used to be a famous American scientist. Neumann then instructed him to go back to 1943 to stop the Philadelphia experiment. But here, the question arises: how did John von Neumann, who died in 1957, become alive again in 1984? It's evident that there's a lot of falsehood hidden in Al Bielek's words, but whether the Philadelphia experiment actually happened or not, no one yet has 100% confirmation on this matter. So, friends, what is your opinion about this? Do let us know in the comments below. And if you like this video, don't forget to like it and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So I'll see you in the next video. And as always, thanks for watching.